Quick little break for the holidays, but we are back. EDJ back with me. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you and yours. We got a new year coming up as well. I had a great holiday time with my family. I hope you guys did with yours. EDJ, happy holidays, my man. How was your holidays?
Same to you, friend, and it was good, just as always. And I wish it was a little sweeter with the MIZZOU victory, but it did not happen.
Everything's
So
weird
let's just
right
get
now.
into it.
Yeah,
I know. Let's just get into it.
Let's get into it. Everything is very weird right now. Obviously, bowl season ended for us Mizzou fans over the weekend, Saturday, as we got a 13-7 loss to the Virginia Cavaliers, who I believe they said won 11 games for the first time in program history, which kind of surprised me a little bit, which was a little bit more of a jab at the end. Like, wow, okay, this is really depressing, actually. What were your initial thoughts of this game and kind of takeaways as I'll kind of flip through the box score here?
Well, it just kind of seemed like Virginia dominated the whole second half.
Yeah.
Just completely dominated the whole second half. I think all of their plays went over 10 plays each drive. It was just ridiculous. I think they had a 16-play drive, a 19-play drive, and another over 15-play drive to
Yeah.
end the game. It's just kind of like, good Lord. And the annoying part is, how many times did they score on those drives? One time.
Yeah.
One time. That's all they needed. It was just Mizzou's defense is, I think, a little underrated in a
Agreed.
lot of aspects. And giving up 13 points and making a team play the ball 18 times a drive is great. But what offensive playing or offensive play calling are you doing in this game? It was lackluster. It was safe. It was bad. Just you and I talked about this a little bit, and we'll probably get into more detail. But no Jamal Roberts, no Ahmad Hardy on a certain situation. Let's let the true freshman run a quarterback sneak for 3 yards.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
For real. Yeah, the short yardage stuff really confused me because it felt like every time I turned around, it felt like it was some short yardage play, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, something like that, and they're running Zollers. And I'm like, you got two of the best running backs in the country right there in the backfield. And why are we running Zollers? I don't know. I guess that's what they did with Beau, and I get it to a point. I guess that was the MO, but hey, Beau's not here. Beau is in the portal and gone. So I didn't understand why keeping the same place.
Well, no, and I didn't understand that at all either. And Zollers at the end, on the last drive, showed a lot of really good potential. And those
Agreed.
balls were coming out fast. He made a really good throw to the other freshman. I'm going to butcher his name. You know what I'm talking about, the other freshman
Hold on,
receiver.
let me go to the name because if I see it, I'll be able
I'm not
to.
gonna.
Oleg Bode? Close enough.
Better you than me, but it was a great throw. It was between three men on his own coverage towards the sideline, and he had to get it there, and he did. He showed me a lot of impressiveness towards the end. He's a true freshman. I think Luz Reddick said he looked nervous for 3 quarters, but he looked good in the fourth quarter. At the end of the day, when you're right there in a football game, you have a true freshman quarterback. That's kind of what you want anyway. I know you want him to play this amazing college freshman experience like Tebow or Lawrence and just be this amazing football player. That's usually not the case.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys have, if they're not just, cornbread fed American quarterbacks, who just come into college and act like it's any other Saturday, you're going to have some hiccups. You're going to have these freshman guys who are four-star, 5-star guys have some problems, and to put Zollers in a bowl game to where he wasn't really even that ready. Hey, you're probably going to start. We don't know yet. Okay, Beau's out. You're definitely in now. Yeah, he just didn't have enough time, and I understand he came into the Vandy game, but that's weeks of practice and prep and being behind Beau and being ready to go if he needs to be, but being told, hey, you're going to start this whole game instead of, hey, get in there. That's two different things.
Yeah.
So it's just
There's an
it,
emergency. We need you on the field.
right, right, yeah. Um, so it again, and we got a lot of good feedback from this last time. It just kind of seems like, and you've said this before, Drink coaches very safely.
Yeah.
He coaches nervous at times, and that was very obvious the other night. Just let it fly. It's the last game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose, but at least let it go.
Yeah. I
And
agree. Yeah.
I think and they got away with it against Ohio State. Now Ohio State didn't have everybody, but they still had, I think, pretty much everyone on defense that year
Yeah.
who played, and that was the best defense in the country. But it was just baffling watching that game. Well, let's not put Ahmad Hardy in the situation. Well, let's not put Jamal Roberts in the situation. Where's that third string running back that everybody knows about? Where's he at? Hey, Tom, get in there. It's like, what, what are you doing? Why? It's just, I don't know. It was baffling to me. Blood had one catch at the end of the game, and he's a really good receiver who I think has a lot of potential too. Just very confusing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Going over the box score, Zollers 12 of 22, 101 yards, no touchdowns, one interception. The Tigers score on their opening drive and never sniff the end zone again, really. When it comes to running the ball, Kevin Coleman had 1 for 5 yards. Jamal Roberts carried the ball 11 times for 56. Ahmad Hardy 15 for 89. Roberts had the lone touchdown. Zollers 5 carries for 9 yards. That doesn't look great, especially when you're out there running him, on those short yardage plays. Catching the ball, Kevin Coleman had 3 catches for 17 yards. It doesn't give me targets on PFF. But Olugbode, 5 catches for 49 yards. I did think he looked pretty good in this game. He had a couple of moments.
He's a monster. I think he'll be really, really good, and he has a lot of potential.
Yeah. So my question to you would be now we have real perspective, right? We've seen the whole season. We came into the season, me and you talking right here on this podcast about possible playoff ambitions. We get was this the guaranteed rate or whatever bowl game, Tax Slayer Bowl. The Tax Slayer Bowl in Jacksonville is what Mizzou got and end up losing the game. So in full perspective, like what level of disappointment do you have with this team this year? Because obviously it's a disappointing year. I mean, were not as good as they were last year. They've taken a step back from the previous 2 seasons, I would say. You mentioned the Ohio State game 2 years ago in the Cotton Bowl, and last year beating Iowa in a bowl game. Like, Missouri is winning bowl games usually. This was kind of a shocking loss, I think, for the Tigers. But I don't know. To me, it's almost like not necessarily panic, but it doesn't look great. And I think it brings to light more of what we talked about maybe a month ago or so with Drink's extension being talked about, which I think you're more, hesitant of Drink than I am personally. But there is a play calling issue, and there is an issue of coaching on the field. Drink is a great recruiter, but on field coaching wise, is that an offensive coordinator problem or is it a Drink problem? Maybe kind of the same thing we deal with on Sundays with the Chiefs. But overall, what's your level of disappointment with this team this year?
Pretty high. It just kind of seemed like, and you and I talked about it, and I'm sure people will go back and enjoy it. But we had maybe 1 or 2 losses on the schedule, and I think we both said we'd lose to Alabama, which we did. But even at that Alabama game, it felt like we were in a good spot.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like, okay, we lost, but. And I think I said this. I said we have to win this game because if we lose, it just kind of feels like we're giving ourselves an out, which we still kind of did. But It's like, okay, we lost Alabama by 3. Yeah, we'll see what the next week brings. And it's like, okay, oh boy,
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of got worse. Um, so I don't know if that Alabama game took the wind out of their sails, but it
It
definitely
definitely
did
fell
something.
downhill from there.
Yeah. And it was a bummer, and um, it just kind of seems like a waste of two of the best running backs in the country.
I
It
agree.
just kind of seems like a huge waste.
Yeah, I agree. Shout out to Ray for this one because he sent this to me a tweet. Missouri finished the season 0-5 against teams with a winning record this year. The 8 wins came against teams with a combined record of 30-76, including a 3-9 FCS team. They didn't beat a single team with even a 500 record. That's disappointing. That's like next level disappointing. But I think it also goes to show
yeah.
Beau was not the guy. This defense is very good. You have a strong run game. Like, I know we were excited about Beau Pribula coming into the year, and I don't want to necessarily poo all over the guy's game, but quarterback-wise, I mean, Beau was not it. I mean, he could run maybe like a Army-Navy offense, but past that, I don't know what good Beau is at quarterback.
Well, when you have the ability to throw 10 yards and in, and that's it, Division One in the SEC, you have a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, oh, he could throw, in between the hashes. No, 10 yards and in was about it.
Yeah.
It was not great, and you saw some of his deep balls, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, maybe he just missed his receiver. Then you watched it again and again and again. It's just kind of like, ooh, boy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing the video of, I can never remember. I think it was either Marquise Johnson who was wide open in an Alabama game at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
How do you not see him? How do you not see him? He's standing right there. There's 3 guys on Kevin Coleman. Look off. Look at the other side. And you're looking in that area. It's not like he was looking to the opposite side.
Right.
You're looking right there. Just turn your head. He had about as good of a quarterback vision as Josh Allen at the end of the overtime game. So,
his vision
he just
was
wasn't
there. He just couldn't make the throw.
Yeah, I don't know. But listen, I think Zollers has a really good potential. Again, Mizzou's all about potential. If it happens, it's great. But we got to see it. And I think this will kind of make people question if Drink was a good decision or not. Again, and people got mad at us last time. Again, we're not saying he's not a great recruiter. He definitely is. But you have to know, and you have to be annoyed if you're a Mizzou fan. This was kind of the year to really do something. And we didn't.
Yeah.
And badly didn't. And then, as that tweet showed, we didn't do shit. So it's disappointing.
No, I 100% agree. Very disappointing. And with the college playoff going to 12 teams, I mean, this is a team that should have been able to at least compete for a spot. At least had a thought. I think the Bama game definitely was tough. A lot of wind out of the sails got taken out that day. I also think that the Vandy game was like the breaking point because they played decent against Vandy, but played where they could have won that game. And when it came down to it, they were not able to, come away with that. And I know Beau didn't play in that game. Or was that the game he got hurt and Zollers jumped in? Or Zollers started that game, I think, right?
The Vandy game?
Yeah. Or was that the game Beau actually got hurt in?
Zollers came in late.
Okay. Zollers came in late.
And that was the pass that they fell the goal line.
Yeah.
So missed it by, yeah.
And Zollers got some zip on this pass. I mean, some of those that he was throwing, we did not see from Beau Pribula at all season long. So the last thing with the Missouri Tigers, I will ask you, EDJ, what's your move at quarterback? So would you rather see Zollers come out as a sophomore and be the quarterback, hit the transfer portal, What's kind of your thought and idea? Would you rather see, maybe, because I think that there's value in Zollers and going with him, but at the same time, does Ahmad Hardy want to transfer out? Does, some of these guys that want to compete right now, that only have a year of eligibility left or so, do they want to move on to a more advantageous position for them rather than, hanging out with the quarterback that's going to be developing for a couple of years?
Yeah, I think a lot of Mizzou fans on TikTok have been screaming, "We want Drew Metzger, we want DJ Galloway, we want all these guys." It's like, well, or Lagway, whatever his last name is. Um,
Nice catch.
well, it, it, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Drew Metzger is a phenomenal quarterback in North Texas who's going to probably acquire a large sum of money to go somewhere else in the transfer portal. Lackway will probably get a lot of money too. Unless Mizzou spends a lot of money in the transfer portal, don't hold your breath.
I don't think they're afraid to spend money though, based off what we've seen.
They're not, but I think they like to keep their positions homegrown. I mean, we've
And they're
seen
finding value, guys.
yeah. I mean, look at the positions. The quarterback we've had: Chase Daniel, Blaine Gabbert, Matty Mock, Drew Lock. I mean, all these guys. It's all homegrown guys. So at the end of the day, I think your hope is Mizzou goes out and gets those expensive guys to play quarterback. I just can't see it happening. And I think Zollers, like you said, is a good investment. I think he's very talented. Um, it's been a while since we've seen a true freshman not have a red shirt at Mizzou.
Yeah.
So I think Mizzou is very, very high on him. Higher than they were on Sam Horn. I think they had a lot of hope for Sam Horn. It just didn't pan out. So, I think Zollers is the guy. But I think we'll see if Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts believe he is the guy. If they leave, if they don't, then I think they believe it too. So I think that'll be interesting to see how much belief the players have in Zollers.
Just to play devil's advocate to that point for a moment, they did do that this year. They went out and got Beau, and they did try to go out and get somebody that was going to take them to the next level this past season. It obviously didn't work out, and maybe that does spook them off of doing something like that. But I just, I don't know with the offensive scheme. I know it's kind of been the MO of even them showing the graphic. Ahmad Hardy, obviously, he breaks the single season rushing record for a Missouri Tiger. But you look at all those guys at the top of that list, they're all Drinkwitz guys. Tyler Beatty, which apparently it's Bidet is how you pronounce it, that Mitch Holthus mentioned on the radio broadcast, because he's with the Broncos. But he mentioned that during the radio broadcast. I was like, all right. And then who was it right before that? Cody. I'm blanking on the man's name.
Cody Schrader.
Cody Schrader, thank you, yes. But all three of those guys, and then before that was Brad Smith, which I thought was kind of crazy to think Brad Smith was the number 4 all-time single-season rushing record there for Mizzou. But so this is the MO that Mizzou wants. So I do kind of agree with you to a point. Do you go spend money on a big arm when your offense isn't necessarily built around that? But the fact that the offense isn't built around that, is that part of the problem why they can't break through to, that next level of, going to the college football playoff? Because really, Mizzou is like, that level is here, and Mizzou is like here. They have consistently been to, the best bowl games you can go to really over the last couple of years. I mean, outside of this year, that weren't part of that college football playoff anymore consistently. And they just cannot break into. And now, going from 4 to 12 teams, or was it 4 to 8 to 12 now, teams in the college football playoff, you would think, Mizzou's one of those teams that should break through and be able to get a spot in the college football playoff. And we haven't seen it through a couple of years, which are only 2 years in. But, I don't know. If the guys would buy in, I think Zollers is the right move because he's already there. Get him some time in. I think that's a big problem just in general with quarterbacks throughout college football is you don't you get a guy for a year, they move on. New system, new everything. And we see how tough that is in the NFL. And I feel like, just rationally thinking, why wouldn't it be tough in college football to go to a new coordinator, a new system, new head coach? So I'm with you on the Zollers thing if everybody will stay. Because, Kevin Coleman's another one that transferred from Mississippi State to a better situation. Does he want to go somewhere else if they have a sophomore quarterback that they don't believe can take them to that level? So I don't know. That's about it on the Missouri Tigers that I have to talk about, or can really stomach at this point after this past season. So let's transition to the NFL and talk a little bit about what's been going on. I don't know how much Chiefs there really is to talk about. I'm not ready to get all into the offseason because that's really what's left. The Chiefs obviously lose Christmas night, 20-13 to the Denver Broncos. They did give the Broncos a fight, though, for a bunch of practice squad and third-string guys. Obviously no McDuffie, no Chanel, obviously no Mahomes. There's a lot of guys that are out for the Chiefs, and I do think that they played pretty well for the most part. Good seeing Noel Williams getting some reps in. Any real takeaways that you had from Thursday night's game?
Well, the Broncos aren't very good. But other than that, and let me get this straight. Their defense is great. But Bo Nix ain't it. And I don't know what the Bronco fans see in Bo Nix. Listen, I've watched enough football and I've analyzed enough football. I'm not saying I'm a great analyst, but it's part of what I've done for a long time. If you have a quarterback who has no idea what scheme you're running while he's mid-run to throw the ball, you probably have a problem. It just seems like Bo Nix is completely lost when he moves on his feet. And he walks into a lot of things. If you make Bo Nix throw the ball and plant his feet, it's horrendous. Look at the throw that got picked off by Nick Bolton. Why was that your choice?
Yeah.
What decision was that? The defender had him blanketed. I can't remember who the corner was. I think it was one of our older guys. Was it Mike Edwards?
It might have been. I'm not 100% sure.
I can't remember.
That.
But
I haven't went back to watch the game again because I just really listened to the second half on the radio. I do remember that play happening, but like I said, I took my daughter, and so I wasn't as paying attention to the game as I should have been.
Right.
But.
Yeah. He ran the ball in the end zone. He sure did. That's about all he can do. I don't know. All the Denver fans chant after the game, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. It's like, you all think you're going to win a Super Bowl? With that offense and how good the Texans defense is this year, it's just, listen, there's teams that are the 5 seed that would wax the floor with you in 5 seconds. It's not the same. And I'm not being a hater of the Broncos. I am, but I'm not. They're not. It's. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yes. It's coming off from the Broncos fans that it's 2015 all over again, and it is not that. Bo Nix has done a good job for the most part not turning the ball over. But one thing and it has risen because I've been kind of keeping eyes on it since I noticed this, but Mac Jones had a better EPA per dropback than Bo Nix as of a couple of weeks ago. I think Bo Nix is at a plus 0.10, which is not very good. I think Jalen Hurts right now has a better EPA per dropback, which EPA I feel like is a good way to kind of gauge, what your quarterback is adding to the value of the field. And, even Patrick Mahomes, after 2 terrible games before he blew his knee out, was 6th in the league EPA per dropback. And we've seen it. You see how much worse the Chiefs are without Patrick Mahomes. And there's a reason why we, all of us Kansas City fans and people that really pay attention to the Chiefs pound the table that this is the best quarterback in the league. There's a reason, of what he does. But I think Bo Nix is still growing. I personally do like Bo Nix. I think he's I don't know. He got me after a reporter asked him about an interception his rookie year, and he said, I threw the ball to the other team, and I thought it was hilarious and a great response. Took accountability for it, and, that's what you want to see out of your quarterback. But does that mean I think he's the greatest quarterback in the world? No. I mean, he's been good enough to keep a team alive, and maybe it is more so like 2015 Broncos. Maybe it is 2015 again, because at that point, I have to say this with no disrespect to Peyton Manning, but he was a Bronco at a time. So we had Noodle Arm Manning going out there that, he had lost. I mean, it was the same. It was like the same thing as Drew Brees the last season, where the guy couldn't throw the ball to save his life. I mean, he was benched for Brock Osweiler. I mean, Peyton Manning was benched for Brock Osweiler at one point in time. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, either way. But the defense carried them and took them to a Super Bowl. And I think, same thing's happening, but how far can this defense carry the Broncos? I don't see the Broncos as, I don't know, a very scary team in the grand scheme of things. But lucky for them, there's not a lot of scary teams in the AFC. So I think that is kind of a caveat to this where, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, the dynamic, like the shift of power to the NFC is absolutely insane after these last few weeks, because you look at what the Bears are doing right now, and what the Seahawks, the Rams, those are three teams that I really do kind of believe in. But even to go back to the AFC, because we talked about this before we started recording, between the Jaguars, who are playing really, really good football right now, and the Texans, those two might be playing the best football in the league the last few weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Trevor Lawrence has impressed me a lot, and I've been a fan of Trevor Lawrence, and everyone said, "Oh, well, he's just the same thing as Justin Fields." Not so much anymore. But if you look at the coaches Trevor Lawrence has had, and now compared to what he has now, that does a lot.
Look at how good Liam Cohen made Baker look.
And look at how good Ben Johnson makes Caleb Williams look. Funny how that worked, isn't it? So if you have a good offensive coordinator who's your coach, things got to happen. So, I don't know. I think the Texans' defense is going to be a huge problem for anybody. It's just very, very good. D'Amico Ryans has done a phenomenal job with that defense. But yeah, the AFC is kind of a crapshoot. We talked about that. We said that. We used that phrase a couple times. But yeah, I don't. The Broncos aren't scary to anybody. But you brought a good point. Nobody is in the AFC. It just kind of seems like, that I don't know. If Josh Allen knew how to hit a barn on Sunday, maybe the Bills would win a Super Bowl on Monday. But it doesn't seem to be the case. And real quick, just to enjoy the moment of how bad Josh Allen is, I think when I leave this podcast and go on my business, I'm going to just miss the squirrel on the road and pretend I hit him for a touchdown. So
there you go. Hey, that's the guy they're trying to tell us is better than Patrick Mahomes, right?
Well, everybody's better than Patrick Mahomes. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, for sure. EDJ, I greatly appreciate you joining the pod, as always. Take care, man. Happy holidays. And like I said, I appreciate you for doing this.
Well, apparently I'm fading into a mystic blackness, but I appreciate it, buddy. As always, have a good one.
You too, buddy. Always great having EDJ on the podcast. If you're still listening at this point, smash that subscribe button for me. Follow along the podcast and the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts and comments your thoughts in the comments below, I think is what I meant to say. But either way, any of your thoughts, whether it's NFL takes, who do you guys think of the front runners right now? I feel like it kind of changes every week. I know me and EDJ kind of talked about the Patriots a few weeks ago. I'm really high on the Jaguars and the Texans right now. And then NFC-wise, I mean, between the Seahawks, Rams, and there was one other team I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. But either way, let me know in the comments below. The Bears, what you guys think coming up for the NFL playoffs. I mean, they're almost here. We are looking at Week 18 coming up next. Final week of the season. The Chiefs will be in Las Vegas for a game against the Raiders that I assume will probably be like a noon game at this point, or maybe a 3 o'clock game with it being in Vegas. Also your thoughts on the Mizzou Tigers, Eli Drinkwitz, and what this Missouri football team could look like in 2026. What you guys want to see? Would you rather see Zollers, or would you rather see the Tigers try to go out and make something happen in the transfer portal at quarterback? Either way, until next time, Thursday we are talking about the stadiums. Finally, we're going to address that. EDJ is on. We got Bryce on. I think I may have a couple more on the podcast by that point, but I'm kind of recording that through this week because I want it to be an episode to just really talk to Chiefs Kingdom and really get some thoughts and raw emotion from everybody and what they've thought, especially now we have kind of some time to process being a week out of the announcements, and really kind of reflect and figure out what this means for us as Chiefs fans, I guess. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the situation, and more to come of that. I'm sure it's going to be a lengthy podcast, and I might separate the interviews and upload them separately on the channel as well. But we'll see how that goes. I'll see you on Thursday. Until then, your boy Papa Shro is out of here.